Good evening and welcome to the Mancunian Way. We are back with another Thursday night chat and we have got a panel for you. Obviously, our very own Ozzy and Pat from the Sydney Blues. How are you boys?
Good, mate. Martin. Happy Friday. Happy pre-Friday to everybody out there.
Why did Pat look really confused then? Yeah, Pat the channel now, mate. I know that he's not still getting used to that one. And when I said our very own Ozzy and Pat, you look really confused.
We don't know if it's Ozzy and Pat or Ozzy Pat, so then that just makes things even more confusing.
No, we did. Don't do that. But obviously, Vader, who's part of the family as well. How are you, mate?
I'm very good, man. Good to see you guys. Good to be part of the live panel and be back in studio. I had to show the man that set the record and put him on display. So thanks for having me.
Good man, and did a really good show earlier on. Go and check that out, Vader Games TV. An amazing show. And then there's Alan. Hi, mate. Should we move on?
You did you dirty, Alan.
Evening, Alan. Morning.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Alan. I see the trial went well.
Yeah, it did actually.
Whoa. Yep. Alan, do you live on your own?
Yeah.
I know why now. Crying out loud. Oh, he's here. Yeah, better late than never. Good morning, Rich. It's nice to know we set a time for you.
Yes. Good challenges this morning.
Is Rich the new Chelsea manager?
I am actually, funnily enough.
By the way, we're not here in uniform. I'm wearing a cap because my hair is an absolute mess.
It was just the day. Look at.
I can't go live on camera looking like that.
You did the other day. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but I can cover my hair. You can't cover your face.
Oh, well, there we go. See, there's always a bite back there, isn't there?
Yeah, you have a nibble, and I have a chunk. Yeah, Rich, you the new Chelsea manager, mate. I've not told anyone.
Yeah. How did you know?
Or have you got a job at the F1?
No, he didn't get the Chelsea job. It's his turn. He didn't get the Chelsea job. It's his turn. Martin, yours will be up in about 6 months' time.
Hang on, we wearing the same cap? Yeah, me and Pat have got sponsors with Under Armour now. No, it's all a laugh, DC. Me and Alan have been on shows for about 5 years now. It's a laugh. Don't worry. It's a bit of banter.
Yeah.
Good evening, CM. We did talk about that last night, so I don't want to delve into that too much.
Yeah,
I can't give any updates on it. I will give updates when I get an email. I've got an email. I've sent an email to the club. And I put my complaint in today, and they were quite in agreement with me. Good evening, FIFA. Adam Quinn, how are you? The 3 topics are going across your screen. We're going to talk Leeds United to kick off. We'll talk about Leeds' 15th manager of the season. Feels that way. Because they are literally now in last chance saloon. Leeds are at a point where they have to now come to the ETIHAD and get something on Saturday. They're in desperation mode now. We'll talk about Big Sam being a better manager than Pep and Klopp. It's going to rile a lot off. Has Rich just become a DJ?
No, I think he's being talked to right now.
All right, I thought the size.
I do like Rich's hat. I do like the hat that he's representing today.
Oh God! It's not the clothes fashion week.
It looks like it. Look at Alan with the retro. Look at you and you.
Mate, I'm surprised you're not absolutely kitted up, full kit wanker with the Toronto Maple Leafs gear right now.
Never be
you made playoffs, and you're actually doing decent for a change.
I got this is gonna. Toronto, don't kill me, but I was born in Montreal, so I don't play. Yeah.
Oh dear.
You're born in Montreal. Can you speak French then?
Oui, je parle français.
Is that all you know?
Non, je peux parler beaucoup, mais je suis.
Il parle très bien français.
Oh, merci.
Jose, yellow card.
Why is that?
He's in the comments. Hello, Blue Art. Good evening, mate. I'm only joking. Peter Grester, how are you? Hope you are good. Yeah, Brighton, Scott. Yeah, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in these mid-table teams, United and Brighton. Let them
Brighton
fight
scored.
out for mid-table. No, it's 0-0, I think.
Oh yeah, I was
Yeah,
about
it
to
still
say.
is.
Good evening, Spencer Mark. Great to have Dennis Stewart on.
Actually, it's the night. This is the Dennis Chip came on summer. This is the 81. This is the 1981 FA Cup final shirt that we lost against Spurs. But I went to both first game and the replay on the Thursday at Wembley. There you go.
I'm not the
Did you go to
last time
both?
we was let
Did you
in.
go to both? Did you go to that and the replay?
Yeah, that's both. Tommy Hutchinson's own goal behind the goal, and then to see Ricky Villa run past Tommy Keckton about 17 times before he put it away, and we lost this replay 3-2.
Yeah, beta games. I have actually, if you look underneath now, I've linked every City channel there is down below. So literally everyone is on there. Because we're at a point where we are. Mate, I'm fine. I'm top of the hoot at the moment. Expecting over a kick from Alan at any moment. He couldn't get his legs that high anymore. Jesus, Blue Art. He's older than you, mate.
It's a quick,
We love
very
Alan.
important question. Very important question for everyone. I've just been having an argument with a mate. Who
That's
scored?
not like you, Rich. Not like you,
Yeah.
that.
In 1991, that was an own goal by Colin Hendry against United, not Giggs' goal, wasn't it?
Was it a United fan or who do they support?
A United fan.
He's going to say it's a Giggs goal, isn't he?
Well, he's going to say it's Giggs' goal, isn't he?
Yeah, and I've watched it again, and it's definitely Colin Hendry. I don't know how he got credited with it. This is an important matter. And then he's thrown back against me, and I think this is weak in my argument that Michael Hughes was going to be a miles better left winger in the Premier League than Ryan Giggs, and he didn't quite make it, did he?
No, unfortunately, he didn't.
Yeah. So Colin Hendry, it was. I think we're all agreed. And
Yeah,
I wasn't born.
Yes, it is, David.
Yeah.
Right, let's get into it then. Leeds United, Saturday, 3:00. Dr. 40, don't upset me as you get going. Don't be telling me all the ITK is coming out with Madison. No thanks.
So sorry, what? Sorry,
Dr.
did I
40's
miss something?
the talk is with the ITKs is Madison to City is happening.
No.
Could you imagine Jude Bellingham to Madison? Talk about an absolute drop of the clip.
What?
He's a lovely player, but nah.
Sorry, Rich. Why is Rich now 51 up?
Because of Erling. I was going to call him Alfie.
Oh.
In the early 90s at the moment.
You know what? I still say Alfie all the time. That's just a habit.
Yeah, if you were,
Erling,
Rich, if you were going to be supporting
Erling,
Alfie, you would have to write 48 down.
Alfie. You not heard that song?
Yeah.
We changed the Yaya and Colo song to Alfie and Erling now. Anyway,
I reckon
Leeds United.
on the ITKs.
It is on the TV. Go on, Rich.
Now, I was just going to say, I don't reckon that Neil Madison's got anything to do with Jude Bellingham. Totally different position, and he's being signed if we get him as cover for a different position. He's
Who,
not
Rich?
Madison.
You said Neil.
Oh, you said Neil.
We get his brother.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, that was There was a. It was a player, something like Neil Madison in the 90s. I'm back in the 90s, you see. So
You're stuck in the 90s.
Yes. Oh, maybe even the 80s. But yeah, no, it's a totally different position, different player.
Right, we'll get into it. Leeds United currently 17th in the league. They have lost 4 out of their last 5, sit on 34 points. 34 games played, 30 points. We'll get into it. I'll tell you the last time they actually won a game. The last few fixtures have been as follows: smacked by Arsenal 4-1. They beat Forest 2-1. Slapped by Palace. Slapped by Liverpool. literally. They got beat by Fulham 2-1. They got a point at Ellen Road against the Foxes, and then they got slapped over at Dean Court, or the Vitality Stadium as it's called now. So Leeds United are in a little bit of a spell. Now, what that has led to is Leeds United are now on their 4th manager of the season. Yes, I said 4. They started out with Jesse Marsch, former RB Leipzig manager. Did a very good job there. Not done a very good job since. You watching the game there, Vader?
Yes, he's watching. He's watching.
He's watching games. I can tell by his reaction. Yeah. So they've had 4 managers this season. They have had started out with Jesse Marsch. Then it went to Michael Scubala, which I presume was the interim. Then it went to Javi Gracia, the former Watford manager, who had 12 games in charge, won 3, drawn 2, lost 7, scoring 15 goals, conceding 30. Tells you why he lost his job. And now they have turned to Big Sam Allardyce. Now, Sam Allardyce has already come into Leeds with a bang and told everyone he's a better football manager than Pep Guardiola, Jurgen Klopp, and who else was it?
Arteta.
Michael Arteta.
Arteta. And then went on a podcast with Ben Shepherd and Chris Kamara and told everyone that playing the ball out from the back is a load of crap. And the best way to play football is a big oof over the top to your 6'5" striker to put in the net. Thank God he did not come in. Thank God he didn't. It was not sarcasm at all, Alan. It really was not from him. You need to. I'll send you a link to the podcast. It's actually quite funny. Thank God. What year was it he nearly became manager, Rich? And Sam Allardyce nearly become the City manager.
There were
2004?
There were rumours a few times. He was rumoured when Sven came in, say 2008. That's when it really solid rumours. But I think there was probably rumours previously of him joining as well. I mean, he was linked with every job, in that period. But I think it's caused a lot of hilarity in the media. But I honestly think it was completely deliberate and a stroke of genius. Everyone thought the media narrative on him joining Leeds was going to be Leeds going back 15 years, all this trouble, it's a negative move. Sam's a dinosaur. No one's talking about that. They're talking about why Sam thinks he's better than Klopp and Guardiola. So I think he did that with a smile on his face. He did it knowing exactly what he was doing, and he has totally changed the whole mood around the move. Like, Leeds fans are laughing about it. We've got better than Guardiola now. Instead of being, we're going down, we've got Big Sam now. Listening to an interview with Paul Robinson, and he played for, a couple of good clubs. He also spent a lot of time in the England setup. And he said that as a man manager, in terms of dealing with an individual, Sam Allardyce was the best manager he ever had. So what Sam has done is he's said something absolutely ridiculous. He's made the media just take the piss out of him. He's having the Leeds fans and all the other fans in the country laughing. And he's totally changed the narrative about Leeds and the mood about Leeds by just absolutely mad fighting talk, which it's no different to me to saying I'm a better centre-back than Harry Maguire. I probably am. But he's just fired off, and I think it's a moment of genius. Actually, I think he's been incredibly smart.
I do try, Spencer and Mark. I do try,
but I still think Leeds are pretty dire. So I don't know if it makes much difference.
I'm about to tell you. I'm going to come to Ozzy and we'll go around the panel in a minute. I'm going to tell you Leeds' fixtures. You couldn't ask for probably 4. There's probably 1 out of the 4 that they're probably like, you know what? Yeah, have a bit of that. Got Manchester City away starting Saturday. Then they've got the OK fixture, I believe. I think are they? Let me just get them up. I just had them up. Sorry, no. Scrap that. Then they've got Newcastle United at Ellen Road. Not easy. Then they've got the OK fixture because West Ham may be preparing for the Europa League final to get through. I think they've got to beat, is it AZ Alkmaar they've got to beat to get into the final, but they've got to go to the London Stadium, and then they finish off at home to Tottenham, which could be all right, but Tottenham are one of them teams where 1 minute they do good and the next minute they're garbage. Should we just start this show when the game's over, lads? Yeah, everyone's like,
Brighton nearly scored, that's all. Brighton nearly scored off the line. Oh.
It's finished 0-0, Alan. I'll let you know now. Anyway, so, Jose, to me, this does change the game a little bit because Leeds can't sit back on Saturday. They need something. They've got to get something now.
Well, they have. I mean, they're not in a very good position at the moment. They're just hovering above the relegation. And obviously the teams below them are not in much better form. It's a real circus at the bottom at the moment, knowing that I think the only certainty at the moment is Southampton are going down. Unless they can pull off a miracle, but Leeds can still pull off a miracle. I think they're going to.
Oh, Brighton have got a penalty. Sorry, Oz.
Yes, come on.
I'm just telling people, Oz, before everyone jumps up in a minute.
Oh, I was watching the referee give it that one.
Anyway, carry on.
We have the commentary from Alan because I mean he's certainly into it.
Yeah, right.
Alan, look, everyone.
Martin's telling us to wait until the game's over, and then he's giving announcements.
Sir Alan, the Whitefield Seagull.
This is suddenly become Brighton versus United watch along.
Oh, that's on ball. Penalty goal!
Look, he's watching.
Here he goes.
Oh, yes. Hang on.
To regular viewers of the Mancunian way community, thank you for joining us. The regular
rags could be losing. Ten Hag's looking very, very upset.
Luke Shaw.
Oh, Lukey Shaw.
Is it me or does Alan get more excited when United lose more than when City win?
Oh, man, I love it when United.
Martin, he loves the negative. I just love to see how the British, the Australian, and the Canadian feeds are in line. Are we going to see Aussie go up? Yeah, like 3 seconds later, Beta go up, and then 10 seconds later.
Actually, I'm gonna put it on too. So
everyone's going back in a mode.
Let's all jump up if Bryce.
Tell you what I'll do. It's just a lot bloody easy. Back soon, everyone.
Yeah. Well, leave it back on the screen. This is going to be funny.
Before anybody says anything in the comments, you bloody hypocrites! I know you're all watching it too.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, because you're sat in your living rooms with us on the phone and come on, Brighton.
We never said the Mancunian way was professional.
You know what we need? We've got the Glodick Goldbridge. He could do the commentary for it.
No.
I don't live in Glodick.
You do. You're near enough.
He does.
And don't compare me to that.
I hope he scores a goal, Macca.
Don't compare me to that 1-0 that scored it.
It's a goal.
Oh, your feet is way ahead of mine.
Oh, your feet's way ahead, mate.
Get in.
Perfect.
Get in! Come on!
Can I just say that proves Tasmania's behind because
he's not even in Tasmania.
No, he's back on.
Well, in that case,
he's fallen down there.
It proves Sydney's Australia's first city.
Every single United fan
is sat there going, you sad bastard.
Hey, every United fan is sat there going, you are a bunch of saddos.
We need a distraction, from...
I've always rated that McAllister. He looked better in a lighter shade of blue.
No. Ticket Crisis is a ban tonight, Rich.
Yeah.
Putting a ban on
Tanag's not looking a bit... he's not looking
McAllister is... he's going to be a hell of a player, McAllister. I reckon
that was a great penalty.
He's the one from Brighton who's destined to
going over. He is going over to Stanley Park, I'm afraid, mate.
Well, I don't reckon that. I reckon
here we go, bloody hell. He's getting McAllister now.
45. Doesn't play for Southampton, does he? So they won't get him.
Ooh, that extra
45?
angle.
You wouldn't get his left leg for 45 million out of Tony Bloom.
He hit the side netting. He hit the side netting. That's a great penalty. Wow. All right.
It's unsavable, that.
Well, George Kinkladze puts it. George Kinkladze, or Georgi Kinkladze, has put it as bluntly as you can. The shitheads have just.
Can I just say though, with the United Brighton game, I'd never say game over. They could go back to the changing rooms, and then the referee could come back on saying VAR has said something and disallow the goal.
You do realise that's actually a bad thing that's happened tonight.
Why?
Who we got second to last game of the season? I was hoping they had Jack to play for.
What do they have? What do they have to play for? They got nothing to play for. What do they play for?
They're fighting for Europa.
You already know.
They'll give us a guard of honour.
You already know the City's going to wrap up the league on the last home game against Chelsea. You've spoken to Pat. You've spoken to.
I just showed him when it was going on.
It probably won't be Frank Lampard because it'll be another manager. Actually, Rich will be at the helm. You'll be fine, mate. So don't worry about it.
Come on, loving the confidence. Anyway, yeah, everyone's back watching now. The views just went up by 10. Anyway, right, let's get back. Ozzy, where were you, mate?
Yeah,
before McAllister rudely interrupted us.
I know. How dare he? Seriously. No, so I was saying that I think if Sam learned anything from our last game, it's strong at the back, probably 5 at the back, keep it compact, frustrate City as much as possible, and break on the counter. I think that's the only gameplay he's really got, if I'm honest. And hope they may get something from a set piece. Because at the moment, Leeds can't buy a win. And I agree with what Rich said. He's gone into the club, he's changed the narrative. It's smart from him, to be honest. He's got everyone concentrating on Sam Allardyce rather than how crap Leeds are right now. And I'm not far away from Leeds. I work with a lot of Leeds supporters, and, I'd hate to see them go down, if I'm honest. They are a club that I do like. And I think they add something to the Premier League, so it'd be a shame for them to go down.
Pardon?
They need Bielsa.
Just repeat that again. You just said Leeds is a club you like.
I do like Leeds.
Is that because you're being biased?
What? Because I live around the corner.
Yeah.
No, because one of his colleagues has got his family hostage.
I hope they go down like the bloody Titanic. See you later. Bye bye.
I must admit, I kind of get Ozzy. Bielsa.
Lancashire.
Yeah. Bielsa did make me stop hating Leeds. As a kid growing up, Leeds were, probably level with the Scousers in terms of level of hate. Probably only United more, but Bielsa did change my view of Leeds a bit. I don't hate them as much now. He gave the whole club a kind of a hope and a bit of a joie de vivre. And since he went, even though they weren't playing well before he went, Leeds after Bielsa and Leeds with Bielsa, 2 totally different clubs. I think it's been sad to see them since he went, really.
Yeah.
Beta, can Leeds and Allardyce learn anything from West Ham's first 45 minutes?
They can attempt to. I just don't think that they haven't really played like that throughout the year, and I think that's a big reason why they're having the struggles that they have. I think they're most likely going to hold true to what they do and maybe try to catch us on a counter at moments and maybe play a little open at times. But Sam Allardyce, him being there, probably expect a very, very defensive game. When I see what we did against West Ham and how we had to unlock their defensive setup, I'm confident that we'll figure out a way, whether it's moving the ball quickly, whether it's being direct. I think we're going to find a way to get the goal and really handle things. But it is a big game. And I'm actually a lot more calmer with this because I mistakenly thought that we were playing away at Leeds. So I was reminded, I think, by you that it's a home game. So I'm a lot calmer. I know that the home fans are probably going to drink a lot of tea, drink some honey, rest those voices. and share the players on to get the result.
Nah, mate, we don't sing.
You don't sing.
Yeah.
To be fair, we beat them 4-0 away last year, so
yeah.
But we don't have to fear it
and
that
we'll come
much.
to Pat on this, and we'll go to Alan. They have had a little bit of joy in the last, I think it was 2021. They beat us 2-1 at Ellen Road. No, they beat us at the ETIHAD 2-1. My mistake.
With 10 men.
The 10 men got hit on the break at the end.
Yeah, 10 men and 2 shots.
Yeah.
That was
typical City.
That was the most City-ish moment.
I'm just waiting for when Pat became a ventriloquist. That was the best Pat I've ever heard. 2 of them parked up then.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's safe to say a lot's changed, I think, for both clubs, especially Leeds, since the last time we lost to them. But Alan, yeah, you're right. That was a City-itis game, if ever there was one. But look, this is a team fighting for their lives. A fair play to Sam Allardyce saying the things he said, because I think it's just it's papering over the fact that this is a club that's conceded 23 goals in a month, breaking a record that's only breaking their club record, which I think has only existed for about 2 years. They conceded 20 goals, I think, 2 seasons ago in a month, which was you thought was already bad enough as a record. They've just gone and done it 2 years later. Look, Sam can say all he wants about, pinging long balls from defence and then, have a 6'5" centre forward, go battering through your defence and that. Well, unfortunately, Sam, we did that to, at the time, the best team in England. And we beat the crap out of them 4-1. So you can say all you want to say that's going to be your master plan, but guess what? We can do the same thing as well too. I have every confidence in this game. They'll be fighting for their lives, so I understand it's probably going to be 2 banks of 5 or a flat back 8 or something like that. But if we're just patient, just do things right, I can't see anything other than a comfortable victory. Remember, it was we played them. We played a Leeds, a much more composed unit when Marcelo Bielsa was there when we played them at home last season, and we still beat them 7-0. So I can't see anything other than a comfortable win. Watch us lose 1-0.
Got some. By the way, thank you, Richard, for your comment. Really appreciate that, mate. Are you a new subscriber? But he says, beat Leeds, Newcastle win, and won't be worrying about it anymore.
Exactly.
Cheers for that, Richard.
You're welcome.
When did you change your name? I want to know.
Every
No, what? I'm sorry. This is not a stream for you, mate, because we're going to tan your ass. No, Noah, I know you're a Leeds fan. You've been really great, but honestly, do you think you are going to wipe the floor with us? Really? I mean, also, Noah, are you going? Love to know if you're going, mate. Alan, right. Let's have that positivity. Come on, Alan. Don't be scared of the new manager bounce. Come on. What are we going to do? We're going to win. Are you scared? Come on. Give me that positivity, Alan.
We'll win, but it'll be tight because it'll be ugly.
Always.
It'll be 0-0. It'll be 0-0 with 5 minutes to go when we score. We'll all be panicking.
No, you'll be panicking 5 minutes in.
Yeah, I will be.
Come on, Alan. We're going to smash him, aren't we? Come on. You're not scared of Big Sam.
I really hope. I'm just hoping Allardyce has got too late in there to even get in proper training sessions. Because they're going to pile into tackles, don't you?
Well, clearly he does if he wants to spend more time on podcasts than getting the team set up to try and avoid relegation.
I know. He's on huge bonuses to keep them up, though, let's be honest.
Vader has to drop, so I just want to make Crony come on for a short time. But again, Vader Games TV, top channel.
It's on its way, Vader.
Thank you, my guy. Thank you.
Well, also, what I will say is a little sneak peek. Vader has a top show coming up. I'll let you announce the day because we haven't decided yet, have we?
No, yeah, it's not decided yet, but just know with the amazing things that are happening with this season, and we know that the rivals, we know that the haters is going to be in full force. We've got a show to really deal with that when we come out of the season. So I'm gonna leave it at that for now. Yeah. You know that I've got Why Always Me once a week and the CIA as well. So, I mean, thank you
Just
for having me on the show. Yeah.
Quick question for you, Vader. Now that we know, your Montreal origins, should we call you Vator?
Vator Gamen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can put roll your R's. You got to roll your R's.
Hang on, I've not put subtitles on here.
No, but
And a bit
again,
of Edith Piaf in the back as well.
No, honestly, Vader Games TV, if you've not hit that subscribe button or you've never watched it, go. An amazing show, really good blue. He is going to come over at some point and watch a game.
I definitely am.
Really is. And trust me, it'd be an honor to meet him in person. Thank you,
guys.
mate.
I'm glad I was able to witness that excellent penalty shot that cost United the win with you guys.
We've never done a 6-man watch along
No,
before. That's
no.
quite unique.
But I think
everyone cheered when he
and do it all at different points.
6-man panel, and about 3 different time zones were going on there. It was
I had the slowest. The
no, three of
slowest over here.
Three of them were in the same time zone. We all celebrated at different moments.
No. Yeah.
Take care, guys. Thanks for having me.
Take care, mate.
Mate.
I mean, to me, yeah, do I think Leeds could do something? Of course. I think I never look at it, but to me, I think I honestly think City will. Once City get that goal, I think it'll be very much very similar to last night for me. West Ham were very compact. I think there'll be a bigger difference on Saturday because Gundogan and KDB for me will be back in, which will change the whole dynamic. Because I think if KDB and Gundogan were in last night, I think we break West Ham down in the first half. I don't think it would have stayed as tight as it possibly did. But
do you really think he's going back, Martin, for that game? Because I don't think he is.
Who?
I don't think KDB starts.
Training today, mate.
No, he has to, mate. Otherwise, he's risk of cold start against Madrid.
You can't throw him in cold against Madrid, couldn't you?
I didn't say that he wouldn't come on. I just meant I'd be kind of surprised if he starts.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he'll be on the bench. I think he'll be
on the bench to start.
Honestly, it depends.
No, I think he'll start and come off
depends why he was out.
He'll start and come off after 60.
The problem is, didn't Alvarez go off with a knock as well?
He could have gone off with 3 different knocks because he got battered there.
That's what I mean. I don't think Alvarez will start Saturday. So the trouble is then is who goes in to do the KDB role.
Phil's going to start.
I think it's got to be Gundo and Bernardo.
Phillips.
Bernardo doesn't do creativity. That's my only issue with him. No, I love Bernardo, but he's no creativity.
I think Bernardo will be rested so that he's got his 100% energy from Madrid.
We'll get onto it. We can get onto it now. If you want to go through, you think rested, not rested, team news, whatever.
Rich, can you put your light back on again? I can't see you.
I don't know what's happened. The light is on.
I mean, we look at the team last night.
That's better.
All right, then let's start with the obvious one because this is the one that's actually going to probably. We're all expecting Edison to come back out. Zooming.
Yeah.
Okay. Rodri, let's get to the main crux of this because I got a feeling this is where we're all going to come back to in some domain. Is this the game Rodri has a rest? If so, who plays?
Phillips.
Because it's Leeds, I reckon Phillips. I reckon Pep's going to do one of his pet things and figure that playing against Leeds is what's going to turn Phillips around.
You can see it happening. Don't know why, but yeah, that reason you can see it happening.
And then he'll score a 30-yard screamer like Alan Kernahan.
Martin, you've got to back him if he plays, mate. We can't have you carrying on in the stand.
Hi, Dad. I don't think he will play.
Who? Rodri or?
So what's your alternative if we can rest Rodri?
Gundo.
Yeah. Gundo on his own or sort of
Gundo along Stones.
Sharing the road, sharing the road with Stones, yeah.
to me, and this is just my 11, I'll throw it out there. I think it'll be Edison. I think it'll be Kanja. He rested last night, so Kanja comes back. Aki, I don't know because it depends. He went off last night. Aki's the one. Is it a game for Laporte, maybe? Don't know. I think Diaz starts. I think Stone starts. I honestly think Rodri will start. If I'm going to be hand on heart here, I think Rodri starts. Because the trouble is we keep having the same debate every season and the guy's a cyborg and just keeps going.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be KDB and Gundogan. And then I think it'll be Foden, Haaland. The only thing I'd love to give Grealish a rest.
He's earned it. He's earned the right to have a rest.
My only issue is with that, and I'm going to sound really harsh, I don't think Mahrez has done enough to start. I don't think Mahrez deserves to start, certainly.
Do you want to hear something very, very good that Charlie's written? Makes pretty up because that just puts a smile on my face.
Yeah, well,
So Charlie's just written, just beautiful.
Yeah, no, I've got to go in order, mate, on the comments.
Oh, have you? Right.
I mean, listen, it's all an opinion. For me, I know Madrid will be in his mind, but this is a chance to go 4 points clear still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that, as you said, Martin, we've all been saying it, Rodri really does need a rest. He's been playing solidly for the last few seasons, and it's just getting to the point now where Phillips isn't trusted, and there really isn't anyone.
That's the thing with Phillips, Ozza.
Yeah, that's it. That's just plain simple. Well,
Gundogan played in the 6-3.
But he can go into that position, but again, you lose that creativity slightly. I think that now that Stones has moved on to that kind of position, you could play Gundo and Stones together. You know, it's a possibility. But then, for me, I mean, for the issue against the last game was I felt that Bernardo and Grealish were getting in each other's way. And that's where you weren't really seeing the best from Grealish in the West Ham game. I don't know if anybody else picked up on that, but
I thought it was phenomenal.
No, I don't mean it wasn't good. I just meant I felt like they were getting Bernardo and Grealish were getting each other's way. They were trying to do the same role.
See, to me, I thought that was what won us the game, that left-hand side with those two. So I thought the right-hand side was non-existent.
Well, it was, but what I'm saying is that it just felt that those two players were just not able to gel as much as they normally would.
More in the second half they improved, but in the first half, though, it wasn't as fluid as it had been. Say against Fulham, the chances they created on that left were huge, but not so much against West Ham. And the one thing I'll take question with you, Martin, is you say Rodri's a cyborg and keep playing Rodri. 2 years ago, our season fell apart because at almost this point, Rodri completely lost form because he'd been overplayed, and we then had to change teams for things like the Champions League final, and our season was completely derailed. It would be unforgivable if we made the same mistake 2 years later and we lost the Champions League final to an inferior team because we made the same mistake we've already made. So,
we may not get that far, though.
Yes,
Rich.
we don't have. Yeah. We may not, but without the doctor's information and stuff, which may be different. He may be fitter now. He may be stronger. I am still. That's my biggest single worry. Is something happening to Rodri because we do not give him any chance to rest.
No, that's fine. I agree with that, Rich. But then put Gundo in. See, the problem is we've sat here for the last 5 weeks and all gone Phillips. Never happens.
The thing is, Martin, for me, and I alluded to this previously on one of the streams we did, is that this game isn't the one that concerns me. It's more the Everton game that concerns me, because I feel that when that game happens, it's Everton are going to be fighting for their lives, putting in tackles, and that could really, if Rodri was to get an injury then in the second leg, do you know what I mean? Like, this is the point of the season where, as Rich said, it's the moment of truth, and if we haven't got, and Rodri's the only player that is the linchpin to this team. If he's out, it all kind of falls apart a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you, but that's to me then play Gundo. And it sounds like I'm really, to me, it'd be very, now listen, he may very well do it. He may very well do it. But to me, I think where my decision went on Phillips was, he didn't even start against Sheffield United.
I think
he came on in the 91st minute last night. To me, it's almost like he's just trying with Phillips a little bit, but bringing him on, 3-0 up, could have brought him on for 15, 20 minutes and give Rodri a rest. He brought him in the 91st minute.
But the trouble is, yesterday we didn't have
like
De Bruyne and Gundogan. But we didn't have De Bruyne and Gundogan to control the game. And the reality is, if you play Gundogan instead of Phillips, then you're not playing Gundogan where he controls the game further up the pitch. And ultimately, if Gundogan plays in front of Phillips, he's controlling the game and we're keeping the ball further up the pitch and we're organising the play further up the pitch. Whereas if you put Gundogan back there, you're moving the whole game back 10, 15 yards. And I'm not sure we want to move the game back 10, 15 yards against Leeds, especially if we think, I don't think Leeds, I know they've got a quick young winger, but I don't think the danger with Leeds is quite, they're with Big Sam, are they really going to be trying to Jamie Vardy us, or are they going to be trying to Tim Cahill us? I suspect they're going to be trying to get Bamford in the air crosses. They're going to want, free kicks.
Yeah.
And so playing Gundogan away pulls the whole game back, and it gives them a lot more chance of getting free kicks.
I look at the bench last night. Minus Kevin De Bruyne, you had Phillips, Gundogan, Laporte, Gomez, Akanji, Edison, Peroni, Foden, Lewis. Foden I can see coming in. Akanji I can see coming in. Gundogan I can see coming in, and Laporte. But obviously your Laporte and your Akanji are going to be defenders coming out. I don't see where you get. Can you rest Rodri, Grealish, and another person, and not weaken it down too much? You understand what I'm saying? We can't rest everybody. Somebody has to start at some point. And sadly, that's just because we're in a situation where Phillips is just not up to speed yet. Sadly. For whatever reason.
With Grealish, you can bring in our best player to play in his place, and that doesn't weaken the side. You can bring in Phil. So, I think we can rest Grealish and play Phil and not weaken the side at all. I mean, I still think Phil, is our expensive start, and I think Phil's going to have a big part, a big say in the Champions League. I think in the league against Leeds you start Mahrez. I haven't got a problem with that. Or you put Alvarez there. I mean, I want to rest Bernardo because I think Bernardo's tactics and his legs are going to be absolutely vital at the Bernabeu. So more than anyone, I want Bernardo. I'd like to rest. I'm not that worried about Grealish. To me, Grealish actually doesn't look that tired, but but defensively, Grealish is now starting to play a part. So, if we're thinking about Bernabeu, then it probably is Grealish, it probably is Bernardo, and it's Rodri, who are the three players who haven't had a rest recently, who possibly have been overplayed. And if there's players who really need a rest, it's those three. But everyone else, I mean, I suppose Haaland hasn't, but he's had the injury, he had the World Cup off, so he's in great shape. Everyone else has had time. De Bruyne and Gundo and all our defenders have all had rests. So they're the three, and I'd probably take a gamble and rest the three of them.
I am a bit with you, Charlie. It is the same debate every stream, and Kevin Phillips never starts. So I don't know why we keep debating the same thing. If we don't debate it, you may get your wish and he starts. I mean, to me, like I said, Gundo plays CDM. If we're you're going to think I'm being harsh because he comes on the sideline and has a smile. Doesn't mean I'm going to trust you in a Premier League game on a title run.
The thing is, I mean, you look at someone like Grealish last season, even though wasn't physically, he wasn't playing to the standard he is now. He was still coming into games. He was still playing. Calvin Phillips hasn't featured, apart from coming off the bench every now and again. It can't be to do with his fitness because he's coming off the bench. He's playing. Okay, he's not playing brilliantly, but he's playing. So, and from all the things you see from behind the scenes, he looks like he's fitted in behind the scenes well. But Pep just doesn't seem to trust the guy enough to give him more minutes. And that's just a big concern.
Yeah, and that's all mine is. I'm totally with you on that, Jose. The fact is, Rodri and Grealish all had dodgy first seasons. They still played. They played games.
Yeah.
Phillips is getting 1 minute. And I don't mean this in an awful... Rich, if you're on speaking, mate, you're on mute.
That's the best way, isn't it? Now, I was going to say that role is
smoke all night.
that role's Pep's role. It's the role he played. It's the position that is kind of the fulcrum of the team. And I think he's always struggled to. He's always had a player who he thinks can do it, and he's struggled to trust others. I think he struggled to trust an aging Fernandinho last year, and he struggled to trust Rodri early on. Furnace sometimes got over.
Still played him, Rick.
Gundogan
played him
came
more
back.
than a minute.
Yeah, I accept that. But and I think that's the problem. I think there's no position in our team that it's a bigger call to make a change and a bigger risk to make a change. It's like taking out the conductor of the orchestra. It's a big call, and the problem is until Phillips is, we've seen him, then he can't prove anything. But until he's proven anything, he's not trusted, and it's a difficult situation. I totally get what everyone's saying about putting in Phillips a massive risk, but I think against Leeds at home, putting Gundogan there is a bit of a risk. I think the least risky would be to put Stones there. If we're not confident in Phillips, and none of us have a way to be confident in Phillips for City because we haven't seen it. He hasn't proved a thing. If you're not going to do that, then play Rico or John Stones. Play someone like that, because I don't want against them. I prefer to have Gundogan higher up the pitch, because they're going to play with a bank of nine. It's not going to be like the United game where they actually, try and press us high for 15 minutes or, play up the pitch a bit and give us more space than we've ever had. Against Leeds, it's going to be 9 across the back, probably Bamford up front waiting for a Gareth Taylor style header. And, therefore, I prefer Gundogan nearer their box, making his runs, controlling the game. And Lewis, Stones, Phillips, take your pick, but we need to pick one of them and give Rodri a rest.
Alan, and then we'll wrap. We'll do the last couple of minutes, and then we'll wrap up and move to Aussie's topic.
I think we all agree that playing Leeds under Sam Allardyce is going to be a physical game. Okay, they're going to pile into tackles. They're going to be in your face, just like Bolton Wanderers used to be.
Yeah,
I just think that's what it will happen. They'll play the long ball down the channel type routine, and bypass the midfield. I think he'll go that way. Leeds won't be used to it, but they've got to do that. Okay, I personally think that the CDM in there needs to be mobile, especially if he's playing long ball. So headers, dealing with balls down the channel, will he moving from side to side? And every time I see Gundogan play in that role, I just think of him being moved from side to side against Chelsea in the Champions League final. And that season, Gundogan was our highest scorer, our top scorer in the team, and he was moved out of position, back in the pitch. I agree with Rich in that respect. Gundo was better off playing further up the pitch and ghosting into the box to score goals and controlling the ball further up the pitch. We don't want to give Leeds
Yeah, Bellin, he has.
Oh,
He said that himself.
Yeah,
That's come out of his own mouth.
I know. Well, what do we do in that circumstance? We can play Bernardo there, definitely.
No, I'm not saying don't give Phillips by all means.
Bernardo's run himself into the ground for weeks. He needs.
I know.
No, but this is what I'm saying, Rich.
But listen. Hang on. You've asked me.
Rodri, everyone.
I know, but you've got a situation where they're going to be pulling the ball in the air, and who's good in the air is Rodri, and he is good in the air. We need someone big and physical against Leeds because that is the way they're going to play, and you know it, and I know it. They're going to play that way. So we're taking a risk playing Rodri because if any of the players get injured, we're going to be upset.
No, I agree. But like Rich, like people have put, you said rest up to now. We've got rest Grealish, rest Stones because of his hamstring, rest Rodri. No. We can't rest everyone. We haven't got this squad.
Martin, we can play Ake, Laporte, Diaz, Akanji at the back, and rest Stones. I think that's and if we're worried about the inverted fullback, give Akanji a rest because Akanji's our weakness in the air. And play Lewis. I think Rico could come in against Leeds and play that inverted fullback. I don't think we need to be afraid of that. Then midfield, if we play De Bruyne and Gundogan, and I think De Bruyne needs some minutes and Gundogan has had a rest, then I think if you do play, Phillips or whoever there, then I think you've still got a very strong midfield because you've still got Gundogan and De Bruyne controlling the game. And then up front, resting Grealish is an absolute no-brainer. Phil needs to play. Phil is our X factor. Phil needs. Phil looked good when he came.
Phil should play. He was great off the bench against West Ham.
Yeah, and because of he had he didn't have a muscle injury. He had an illness that kept him out. So his body is probably, in some ways, in the best shape. He's probably had the best physical rest for a lot of his muscles, etc., that he's had in many, many years. So Phil could be absolutely flying, and I want to see him play. So I don't know that's I think in that side, the only real place you're weakening is Rodri to Phillips, if it's Phillips, or Rodri to Stones. But if Stones got a hamstring, we can't risk him. But I think if you had Stones, Gundogan, KDB, or Phillips, Gundogan, KDB, along with 4 decent defenders and a really decent attack, if that can't beat Leeds, then we're not going to be beating Madrid. And then we go to Madrid and we've got players.
One game at a time, mate. One game at a time.
Well, we struggled for 45 in the first half yesterday. Remember?
Yeah, but we didn't have KDB
up and smash.
We didn't have KDB and Gundo. We didn't have KDB and Gundo.
No, I understand. Yeah. No, Rich, I get that, but I'm only going off tonight. I've got from the panel and everyone in the comments. Some have said don't start KDB. The problem is it's all opinions, and this is why we love it. And sometimes this is why these debates can go on because we're not all going to agree. We're not all going to be happy. But the simple fact is we don't have the squad to rest 5 or 6 players down and not take the gamble. And I don't think Pep will do that.
I think he took.
We're not 10 clear. We're not 10 points clear.
But the only gamble, you're only taking one gamble. If you play Ake,
but we don't know where Ake's situation is, Rich.
Akanji,
fitness wise.
Well, he only just came back. He took him off precaution.
That's what I'm saying. With an hamstring, you can't just roll him out game after game straight back.
Well, then Akanji plays at left back.
To me, Gundo was on the bench to start tomorrow. I think KDB will be back as well. Yeah. Alvarez, I don't think it's the game for Alvarez anyway, in my opinion, because Alvarez against tough physical teams gets bullied a bit. and that's not his fault. It's just against big, tough, robust players. Like last night, I thought West Ham players bullied him a little bit. And that's how, like Pat said, he got kicked up and down pillar to post last night. Alvarez felt for the guy because he just kicked him all night, and apparently he's got a slight niggle, as they call it, or as Pep calls it. So you might not be able to throw Alvarez in. The one thing I will say, which is anyone thinking we won't get the win on Saturday before we move on to our next little subject?
But I think the worst possible scenario is a draw, and that's just as bad as a loss, isn't it? Let's be honest.
No, we can afford a draw, Alan. It wouldn't be good if we lost. Really, we could afford a draw.
You're giving Arsenal a sniff, aren't you, if you do that?
You are.
I'd rather get the draws away than at home. I'd rather take the draws away. But I know what Ozzy's saying. We can afford a draw, yeah, but I'd rather save that in my back pocket for Brighton or Everton away, where we might need that draw there. If you know what I mean, if that makes sense. I'd rather
I agree with you.
I do. I think especially if we win and we go fuck it. I think Arsenal then lose. I think if we lost or drew, that might give Arsenal a real pump up for Newcastle. But I think if we win, Arsenal lose.
Does anyone remember how we win leagues? We don't win them easy, Rich. Do you not forget how we win leagues?
No. We usually win one easy one, one hard one, one easy one, one hard one. So this year's due to be easy.
Rich, I was sat in the ETIHAD watching Aston Villa be 2-0 for 60 odd minutes, thinking what the hell's going on.
Yeah, and we won one by 20 points.
Exactly, slicing my leg open.
Would you an easy one this year? Would you an easy one?
Oh, behave, you an easy one. Where do you come from?
I
just think Trafford.
I've watched most of the recent games of Newcastle and Arsenal, and I think City winning and growing that gap would be, I think, a bit of a blow to us. Pep said it himself last week, and he goes, before we played 3 games this week, if we win 3 games, then we are in a phenomenal position, and we are. If we win 3 games, Arsenal is going to be looking at it thinking, crap, we need City to lose 2 games of their last 4, and they've only lost 4 of their last 50 or whatever it is. So their heads are going to drop. Newcastle really want that 3rd place. They've got the home crowd behind them. So I think we do need to win, because I think if we win, then Newcastle win. We've then got we can then afford to lose 2 games. So we can then not worry in the same way about Everton and Brighton, because they are not existential to our season. I mean, we obviously don't want to lose them.
Now. You've got proper, here we go.
But this is just, look at recent form. I mean, Arsenal, Chelsea.
I'm not denying that. I totally get you. But like you put in there, Rico's not played for God knows how long, and we're now chucking him into the last 4 games of the season.
To be fair,
he's not even come off the bench.
To be fair, Martin, we chucked Rico in when he'd never played, and at right back, he played brilliantly.
I know, but to me, it's madness to start Perone, Palmer, and all these when you're in a title run like this.
No one has said start Perone or Palmer.
They have in the comments. Whoa, I've got the comments here. They bloody have.
Okay. Well, that's probably taking the mick in it.
Rico in.
Yeah.
He's Alan in the comments again.
What I mean? Rich has turned into Alan tonight.
Right back. Rico has been absolutely. So I've been surprised. Rico hasn't had more chances at right back. I didn't like him at left back, but at right back he has played.
Have you been
really
surprised?
Well.
Honest.
I thought he'd be brought in a couple more times since he came into the side, played 4 or 5 games, and then dropped out. I'm surprised he hasn't. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't.
He hasn't done. He doesn't generally. He actually, for me, I thought Rico's played a lot more than what I thought he would have done.
Foden was more sporadic. I mean, I remember being shocked when against Spurs in the 19 run-in when Foden was suddenly brought in from nowhere for one game and then scored and then got dropped.
Sorry, Charles reminded me when I was famous on the television. Anyway, right. Personally, I think it'll be one of the strongest teams. Get it done. Saying that. Get it won. 60, 70 minutes. Get everyone off them.
I hope you're right, Martin. I really hope you're right.
Join us next week for the preview where we'll talk about Cole Palmer coming into the midfield.
Well, we might. If we win against Leeds and Newcastle win, we might be able to talk about Cole Palmer coming into the team.
And if me auntie had balls, she'd be my uncle.
Well,
don't work on his books and ladies.
You better go and chat. You better go and chat to your auntie because on Monday she may be your uncle. So,
what would you do if Arsenal got to St James's Park and beat them? You won't know what to bloody do then.
If we've lost to Leeds, I'll be most concerned. If we've beaten Leeds, I won't be too worried.
I will say
Richie's attitude this season. I'm loving it.
I've rated Newcastle ever since Eddie Howe came in. You know that.
Here we goes again.
Yeah.
Go on, Alan. Then we'll move.
I will say about Rico, we don't need to go in the transfer market for a right back because he's one hell of a talent, and he is. When he first came in, we all went wow, and let's be honest, we did. Okay, and I have no qualms about him coming on the pitch playing for City at any point. I think he's fantastic. Yeah, he didn't play well at left back, but right back he was fantastic, and in that inverted role, he was superb. So I've got no qualms about Rico coming on the pitch at any time. We just have to make sure. The only thing that worries me against Leeds and Everton is injuries because they both are physical sides. We've just got to be careful.
I just think injuries are part of the game. I think we get injured. There's not. This is the problem. We haven't got the biggest squad. Pep wanted this. Where we are.
Well, we limped over the line last year, didn't we? And thanks to Laporte, we got over the line.
This is why everyone wanted trebles.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move.
So to be fair, just one final thing. I mean, Alan, to that point, at this stage last year, going into that Madrid game, we had Stones not fully fit. We were gambling about, do we start him? Is he fit to play? And he's injured. We had Diaz injured. We had Ake injured. We had Walker injured. We had Laporte, getting pain-killing injections. We had basically an entire defence, not fit. And the reality is, and I'm touching wood and throwing salt over my shoulder and everything else, we are pretty much this weekend. We've got a full squad fitness.
Yeah.
Rich, when did you get your season ticket at the Swamp? Oh, I know. If you've been at the Swamp and come out with that attitude, we'll smash everyone. You know who we are.
No, they're miserable. They're all wearing yellow and green scarves and going on about.
Right. Anyway, the ref is Andy Madley. Right, there you go. Ballon d'Or. Off you go, Oz.
Yeah, so it's been discussed recently. Does Haaland have a chance at winning this year's Ballon d'Or? Now, does he need?
No.
Well, thanks, Alan, for piping in
Good
there. So, obviously, he's phenomenal. The score record speaks for itself. You only have to look at our fantastic background that Martin has done today to say, what an achievement it is that he's scored so many goals. He's also helping us to win, which is our next topic, could win the treble. So over the last 14 years, there's only been 2 players apart from Ronaldo and Messi that have won the Ballon d'Or. One of them is Benzema, and the other one is Modric. So the last time anyone in the Premier League won a Ballon d'Or was Michael Owen when he played for Liverpool. I believe that's right. So you could say that it's quite biased that usually it seems to be one of the sides from Spain that usually wins it, one of their players. And obviously, you can't argue in some respect the two greatest players that we've had in the last decade have been Messi and Ronaldo. So, but is there a chance after his phenomenal season, could he win the Ballon d'Or this year? Is there a better candidate out there? Let's be honest. Now, the only candidate I can think of is Messi, and that's because he won the World Cup with Argentina. But is that enough for him to win the Ballon d'Or? Because he's not particularly had a great season in PSG, and he's now leaving there. So there isn't any other player in world football for me that even gets close to the Ballon d'Or.
Just before you all, because I want to start with Pat, because you've been quite quiet. I'm just going to throw the odds up. These are the odds so far. Lionel Messi's 5-6 on. Then they've got Mbappe, then Haaland, Neymar, Benzema, De Bruyne. Go on, Pat.
Well, first thing I want to say is why the hell is Neymar shorter odds than Kevin De Bruyne?
Yeah.
That's
an
nuts.
absolute joke. That's an absolute joke.
Actually,
So you can get the latest odds at the minute.
To be fair, I'm surprised that Kevin De Bruyne isn't even closer to Haaland. To being on top of that list, because as brilliant as Haaland has been, there's no denying, Kevin De Bruyne is the best midfielder in the world football right now.
You know what? I think.
Oh no, it has changed. Thank God.
I think we've got 6 or 7 players at City who've had a better last 12 months than Neymar.
Can I say something?
And it has changed. Sorry, my mistake. Lionel Messi's 4-7 on.
Yeah.
Messi's odds on favourites everywhere.
Yeah.
Erling Haaland's 5-4. Benzema's 25. Marcus Rashford's even in the running. Mbappe been dubious. KDB's dropped down to 40-1.
Be honest, not being controversial. Overall, for the season, Rashford's had a better season than Messi. Messi, I saw a stat the other day. Basically, in this season, against top opposition, Messi, apart from World Cup, taken outside the World Cup, Messi scored against Benfica and Lyon. Messi has played in a Paris team that has been pretty woeful in trying to chuck the league away. In a farmers league where some of the teams in France have budgets that there are teams in Division 2 in England that spend as much money. So he's done that. They were disaster in Europe, and I think he scored a few goals, but I think 3 of the 4 goals he scored were against Maccabi Haifa or something. He had a great World Cup where Alvarez did all his work for him, but I think, unfortunately, Ozzy, the question is, should he win the Ballon d'Or? Messi should not be in the top 10 for the Ballon d'Or. This is about a season of football. It's not about 1 month where everything runs in your favour and you come back from losing Saudi Arabia and win the World Cup on the back of, a lot of other players doing a hell of a lot of work to enable Messi to show some magic. It is about a season. And I think there are, I'd say probably a dozen players in Europe, even players like Lewandowski, who over a season have done far more than Messi. It looks to me like Messi retired to Paris, rested himself for one last go at the World Cup. Everything fell into place. I'm not sure, Argentina, they won it and they, ultimately they got over. Were they the best team at the World Cup? I think there wasn't that much difference between them and France, etc. But Messi has been, for 11 of those 12 months, has not been great, has not had much impact, has probably done more harm than good in Paris, and it would be wrong for him to win. But that whole story and magic and narrative about the World Cup is going to blind everyone to the facts of the 12 months. So should Erling win? If we go on and win 2 or 3 trophies and he scored 60 goals in the hardest league in Europe, then absolutely he should win. And
you're forgetting one thing though, Rich. FIFA and UEFA hate the Premier
League.
While that's a subject, you could have a puppy dog on playing on the field would get an award before any English player that plays.
Last year, Courtois said it. Last year, who should have been the Ballon d'Or winner last year? I mean, Courtois probably. He's the one who won, the Champions League for Madrid. Benzema was the other player.
Oh yeah.
It's great. Or some of the players, players in a good Liverpool season.
Go back 2 years when Messi won the Ballon d'Or. One of the first things he said when he received the award was Lewandowski deserves to be up here. He had like a 40-goal season and like a 15 assists or something. Yeah, absolutely tore through the Bundesliga and through Europe. Yeah.
Haaland won't get anywhere near. I'm telling you this now. Haaland, the UEFA and FIFA hate the Premier League, hate Man City. Haaland won't get anywhere near.
Yeah. Unless where I disagree with you is I think if City were to go on and win the treble, and if Haaland, scored 2 goals in the Champions League final, if that sort of thing happened, then it would be madness for them, to try and pretend. For most of the season, even though he isn't playing all the time, Alvarez has been having a bloody better season than Messi for most of the season, and wasn't far off him in the World Cup. So. I could end up winning the Champions League and the World Cup. But
so we know that the two dominant footballers that have dominated the Ballon d'Or are Messi and Ronaldo, and Ronaldo isn't even being mentioned in this talk.
Well, that's because he's had an appalling season.
Well, yeah, there's no denying that. But what I'm saying is, Rich, is that these two players are coming to the end of their career. The only thing that can win it for Messi is the World Cup, because we know his club performances has just not been good enough. Ronaldo isn't in the running for the obvious reasons. So, yes, I think you're right, Rich. I think it would be madness, even without winning the Champions League, for Haaland not to get it after his fantastic season. Pat, you were trying to say something, and I'd like you to come into this as well. So, what are your thoughts?
It's an interesting topic of discussion. There's going to be varying opinions about it, but I think, and it's one of these things where if Messi was to win it, it's one of those things, a case of here we go again, but on this occasion I understand it. I mean, we're talking about not the greatest player of our generation, and there is argument to say the greatest player of all time with Messi. He's completed everything he could possibly do as a player. Virtually win every trophy that he's ever competed in his professional career. So I kind of understand
never played outside of Farmers League.
No, I get that, mate. But at the end of the day, yeah, look, every professional footballer, when they come in to play football, what do they want to do? They want to represent their country, and then if they're good enough, they want to obviously win the biggest prize. I think. If you want to talk about great individual performances, then you can go back to Maradona at 86. And there are people out there that are going to say, well, Messi's been able to accomplish what Maradona did, and it can now be put in the same sentence. So, yeah, well, what Alan alluded to, of course, there is an agenda of FIFA and UEFA against Premier League clubs, and in particular against Manchester City. So. Yeah, and I think I alluded to with Martin off camera the other day as well too. I said, honestly, we could win the bloody treble next season. Haaland could take Norway to a Euro championship, and he probably still wouldn't win the Ballon d'Or. So if Messi got it, I understand, but again, it just proves what we all agree on, where it's just basically anything that is accomplished in England is completely ignored by FIFA and UEFA.
But I think, to your point there, Pat, just saying, because Messi and Ronaldo are starting to come out at the bottom of their careers, and it's starting to wind down for them, who else in world football that plays for a proper league and a proper team would be challenging Haaland next season?
Yeah.
Because
does anyone know who chooses the Ballon d'Or, by the way?
It's
writers and journalists, isn't it?
From France, isn't it?
Yeah, this is what
100 journalists from around the FIFA nations.
And this is something I was going to mention on camera too, because I said this to Martin as well, is if you want to use a comparison in a different industry, say like, Hollywood and acting, the Golden Globes, for example, that's not that's not like an organization like the Oscars or anything like that. But what it basically is it's a conglomerate of journalists and writers who are basically wined and dined by the nominated actors and actresses to basically almost persuade those writers and actors almost in like a job interview sort of scenario about why they believe that they should win the award. And then basically the writers and journalists will say, well, this person dined me at friggin' Nobu or some high-end restaurant in LA, so that's why I'm going to vote for them. And they were very appealing to me, and I agree. Like, I watched their performance, and they explained it to me in a way that moves me and all this sort of stuff. And yeah, I could see why there would be a resemblance between the way that that's done and the way that the writers and journalists decide who's going to be the Ballon d'Or winner. And that's that's just how I see it as a comparison. That's a way of seeing it.
The thing is here, people need to realise two things. Do I think Haaland deserves to win it? Yeah. Do I think he will win it? No. Two reasons. Messi's about to probably end his European heyday football. So this will be the last. Hurrah, bye-bye. Thank you for everything you've done. Because all the sentimental crap will come in. Two, Haaland plays for Manchester City.
Correct. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, totally.
And just to let you know how corrupt this is, the Premier League nominees for Team of the Season came out the other day. 40 of them. How many of them 40 do you think play for Manchester City?
3.
Was it about 4?
6.
6. Well,
I think Chelsea have just the same or about the amount of players in that we have. While you are in a blue shirt at Manchester City, and everyone writes we are corrupt, and we are financially doping and everything else, they wouldn't give you the steam off you know what. Erling Haaland has plenty of time to win a Ballon d'Or, and he will do. Because I think he's beyond the world class category. I think he's beyond world. But sadly, Lionel Messi won the World Cup, and that's what will get it. Because he's the money-making sponsor guy that looks really, really good. And because he will probably leave European football, this will be the last goodbye to him, in my opinion. Thank you. Thanks for all the memories. Ta-ra. There's been loads. You know, Modric was a complete and utter one-off at the time. We've seen loads of players who deserved it. Lewandowski was superstarring at the time and missed out on it.
And
Messi said he should have won it. Messi said Lewandowski should have won it.
It's all sadly corrupt.
The other problem is with obviously there's a few exceptions, but it's always won by attacking players. And I think I think Courtois spat his dummy a bit last year. In terms of as a goalkeeper, he doesn't get a look in, but ultimately it was Courtois who stepped up against City and then against Liverpool, and he was, I thought, Madrid's best player going to the end of the Champions League and solid in them winning, getting in the league. So, but he never got a look in. And, I don't know how anyone thought that Messi had a better or more influential season than him that year. I mean, I don't know how a player for PSG, unless they go and win the Champions League without conceding, I don't see how a player for PSG can go and win it, because, Messi's got a couple of goals against Troyes and, probably Bastia and, some petit village on the Dordogne. And that isn't Ballon d'Or football. Ballon d'Or football is playing week in, week out against top teams and getting goals against top teams. And he did it in the World Cup. But the World Cup, and it wasn't just Messi. Messi had a great World Cup. Alvarez had a great World Cup. McAllister was exceptional in the World Cup. Enzo, was exceptional in the world. Both Enzos were exceptional in the World Cup. So it wasn't, this narrative that Argentina won the World Cup just because of Messi, it isn't true. He didn't even have to run because Alvarez was, running, twice as much as he normally has to cover the ground and to create the space and to harry the players for him. And so, yes, it was a magic story. Yes, he played brilliantly and showed his form in the World Cup. But That's basically what four or 5 games, because he was bloody dreadful against Saudi Arabia. 4 or 5 good games, and 2 of them they were relatively lucky. That does not make you over 12 months the best player in the world. What makes you the best player in the world over 12 months is playing well for 12 months, scoring goals in every competition you're in, having an influence in every competition you're in. And I just think there's 10 better players in Europe over that year than Messi this season.
Don't work that way though, Rich.
No, I'm not saying it does. And I
let's be honest, Martin. You're even talking about like Messi riding off into the sunset and things like that. If we're using slight hypotheticals here, like there's all that talk about Messi going to going to Miami.
In the audience.
Going to Miami, being like the poster child of the MLS, which I think is, if FIFA had half a brain, that would be a great idea for them to promote the 2026 World Cup, obviously being in the United States. But look, Messi could go to Miami next season and absolutely blitz the MLS, score 30 goals, 20 assists, something like that. But because it's Messi, he'll probably get as better odds and probably get more votes than anybody who had a fantastic season at Manchester City.
So
because that's just the way that FIFA work.
Are you saying
what I'm saying is because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where Messi plays. The fact that it's Messi means that he'll always get votes.
Yeah. Do you not think the one thing that could kill Messi for winning Ballon d'Or if he goes to Saudi Arabia? If he goes to Saudi Arabia, I would wager there'll be journalists who will change their vote.
As long as he doesn't come to Manchester City, I'm an happy boy.
No, but that's the reason why Ronaldo went to Saudi Arabia. It wasn't just because of the money too, but because even after he finishes his playing career, he's going to be their pin-up boy to try and get the 2034 World Cup. It's been publicly announced. They want him there as their poster child for bidding for the 2034 World Cup.
Yeah.
So if they bring Messi in, they could use both of them. It'd be perfect promotion for them.
Anyway,
part of the deal for Messi was he has to go to Saudi Arabia 3 times a year at their request. When they tell him to do, he has to go to get that money that he was contracted to for the sponsorship. That's why he went the other day. You got 25 million for going there for.
I just think him going to Miami makes sense because it would be huge for the Latin American community there down in Miami because it's massive there. Every nation in Central and South America is represented strongly in that part of the United States, and I think it'd just be huge promotion. Into Miami would get sellouts. If Messi went to Miami, every game would be a sellout. David Beckham had money coming out of the demon hole, and FIFA would just be rubbing their hands because they got Messi promoting the next World Cup in the league of the respective host nation or one of the host nations.
Yeah.
I mean, there isn't. I mean, I think back to your very original question, Ozzy. I don't know that there's, outside Haaland and Messi, I don't know that the competition's that great because you'd look at a player like Vinicius who's got, he's got 20 goals and 20 assists. If Madrid went on and won the Champions League, but then they've been terrible in the league, they've been miles behind. So, and they obviously had a poor World Cup. So, he's got the kind of Champions League going for him. Messi's got the World Cup going for him, but it's been pretty dreadful apart from that. It's really only Haaland who, who's played consistently, done well consistently, and, potentially could go on and, and De Bruyne, I guess, who could go on and, claim to have had a very good season domestically and in Europe. And Haaland obviously doesn't, sadly for him, didn't play for a country that qualified for the World Cup because, they have a couple of world-class players and then a massive drop-off. So it's a hard one, but,
So I think we can all agree, basically, and say that realistically, it probably should be Haaland, but realistically, it's probably going to be Messi, isn't it, if we're honest?
He won't finish in the top 3 because it'll be Messi, and then it'll be Junior. This is Junior will come second, and it'll be probably a French international.
I think Haaland will be second. I don't think, depending what happens in the Champions League and stuff, if we win the treble, Haaland will be second.
Just one more thing, just in closing, I think because Martin wants to move on. But look, we're talking about like obviously writers and journalists are the ones who choose the Ballon d'Or. when it comes to the the voting for who's going to host a World Cup, it's all done by the FIFA dignitary for every representative country that is a part of FIFA, right? So it's like 200 or so. Why can't the Ballon d'Or be chosen by them, or they can have or some select committee representing every FIFA country, and each one of them has a vote on who they think should be the Ballon d'Or?
But that would still
writers and journalists.
That would still be so political. Look,
I get that. I'm not saying necessarily those dignitaries, but I mean like more if it was more of a representative from each respective national football council or something like that. Because why all of a sudden are writers and journalists given the right to determine who they think we should agree with
because
should be the best player of the year?
They invented the award.
Alan has to shoot. Cheers, Alan.
I've got to shoot to the office, guys. So I'll have a good weekend. I'll probably speak to you over the weekend at some point. And just obviously, City fans going the Imperial for 11:55 on Saturday night against Leeds. It will be open to watch. So if you're living in Melbourne or you're on holiday in Melbourne at this time of the year, head off to the Imperial on the corner of Burke and Spring Street. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Alan. Have a good weekend, man.
Alan there working for the Melbourne Australian Tourist Board. Yeah, Rich, you just have to accept, mate, it is political.
Yeah,
I know you want it to be on Sporting, but it ain't, mate. You want to be song contest. We all want it on Nice. Who's the best singer? It ain't. He's wearing a blue shirt.
I just wish it wasn't determined by journalists. By journalists, it was actually determined by.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
but it's a journalists' award. The newspaper invented it. They invented the award. It's always going to be by them because it's their award.
Right. Let's get to topic 3, the treble. What we've all been waiting for.
Oh God.
Bye, Pat.
That's Pat done.
Listen, we weren't going to do it, but I think we have to. I know I need to get a little mute button for him, Charlie. He does like it tonight. Rich, they wanted a mute button for you, mate. It's a Rich ranting between everyone at the moment.
Too right. There's a lot of ranting at the end of the season.
Right. We weren't going to talk about it. The simple fact is, and the clear facts are, Manchester City are 5 wins away from theoretically doing the treble. And that's just the cold hard facts. Win 1 game, draw 1 against Madrid, you're in the final. Win another 1, you won it. FA Cup final, probably 2 or 3 wins in the Premier League. So you're looking at 5 or 6 wins in the day. I know that seems so straightforward, but we can't keep sitting there going, keep quiet, never going to happen. We've also got to remember that we are in this situation. The players publicly will not be talking about it, but they will be talking about it behind the scenes. They're not stupid. They've actually got posters up in the dressing room of each trophy saying target, goal, or whatever it is. So the players are discussing it. They are talking about it because all 3 trophies are up in the posters, or pictures of the trophies are all up in the dressing room. So as much as, yes, to the media, and to the fans, to the public, they are not talking about it, but they will be internally. They're not stupid. They really, really are not stupid. Now, Now, obviously, this has not been done for 24 years, 1999. The last time we did it was obviously our dear neighbours over the road, 1999.
Dear.
They did win the league, 38 games. They won 22 games. They drew 13. They lost 3, and they scored 80 goals. We've scored more than that already, and they finished on 79 points. Now, when they won the FA Cup, they beat Middlesbrough at home, Liverpool at home, Fulham at home, Chelsea at home in a replay. Drew at home. They got a 2-0 away win down at the Bridge, thanks to Dwight York. Then they obviously drew with Arsenal, went into extra time, and they got that wonder Giggs goal, if we all remember, when he showed his hairy chest off to everyone. And then they went up against Sir Bobby Robson's Newcastle United. Was it Sir Bobby Robson's then? Or was it Kenny Dalglish's? One of the two, Dalglish's or Robson's. And smacked him 3-0. now. And then in the Champions League, they, funnily enough, were put into kind of the group of death, really. They had to go through a qualifying stage, but they were put in the same group with Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Brøndby, Denmark. And they finished second in that group with 2 wins, 4 draws. And then they went on to beat 2 Italian clubs, Inter Milan and Juventus, thanks to anyone who remembers the Roy Keane one. And then they beat Bayern Munich in the final. So, Ozzy, we'll start with you. How realistic or how confident are we there of the treble?
I think if I take one at a time, so I think with the league, we are, it's ours to lose now. I think with the FA Cup, obviously we're playing United that are not in form at the moment. They're hit and miss, but it's a derby, so you've got to be cautious, and it's a one-off game. With the Champions League, I think if we can get past Real Madrid, I'm not particularly worried too much about the Milan clubs. Don't get me wrong, again, it's a final, anything can happen. But if you're comparing the teams,
I'm just watching Richard dwarfed up there now.
if you watch the teams, then it shouldn't be anything concerning to City. Really, it should be. We walk into that final, and we should be walking out with the trophy. And that's not being arrogant. That's just being honest about the state of the Italian clubs. Yes, they're not bad, but are they anywhere close to where City are? No. So I think this is City's moment. This is definitely on. I think every City fan, I think we could all say this on the chat, that we're all kind of thinking, we want it to happen, but realistically, this is City. They're going to slip up somewhere. That's just the way we are. Cityitis is deep within our veins. So I think none of us want to say they can do it. Definitely, we're going to get it. But secretly, we're all going, yeah, it's ours. Come on.
See, that's a great point. At Fogspot, there was no round of 16 when the Rags won it. We've had to win more games.
And if with
he's on gone. Whoa, you got Mr. Negative now.
No.
I reckon you sort of smashing everyone 5 minutes ago.
No, I've said for a number of months that I'm worried about the FA Cup, because I think I still to this day I think the FA Cup is our most likely thing. I thought we'd be playing Brighton, which obviously who are a better side than United, but I've always worried that the FA Cup would be the most likely one for us to fail or choke, because if we do get to the Champions League final, and that is an if, we are a better side than Real Madrid. I've got absolutely no doubt about that. We should beat them over 2 legs, but even a patched up City side should have beaten them over 2 legs last time, and we found a way to lose to them. And I watched their game against Chelsea. I watched the game against Paris, the second leg against Paris. Madrid were probably the worst side in 5 of their 6 knockout games to get to the final, and they yet somehow they came back against PSG, who were absolutely battering them. Somehow they got away from the Etihad only 1 goal down when we, I flew over for that game. We should have beaten them by 4 or 5 clear goals. We absolutely battered them. And yet somehow they got through those games, probably had half a game against Chelsea where they were genuinely the better side. And then they played a Liverpool side who were absolutely out on their feet in the final. And they were the better side in the final, but it was a dull game. Liverpool were dead. And so there's part of me that says you cannot keep getting that luck. You cannot keep, having that mentality to somehow be getting battered and come out with a win. But they've done it. And so there is that nervousness going into Madrid that no matter how well we play, there's this kind of mentality or, luck, all those things rolling in together that make Madrid dangerous. But I think if it was one leg, I'd be, a lot more worried. I think over 2 legs we'll beat them. But I worry about the FA Cup final. All our squad have winning the Champions League as their biggest goal. And I worry about going into an FA Cup final to the fans and to the treble and everything means a ton. But the players' minds, if we get past Madrid, the players' minds are going to be on a week later. And it's going to be the last game, do or die. I was about to say it's going to be United's Cup final, but funnily enough, it is going to be United's Cup final. But it's going to be do or die, and we're going to have a squad with their eye on a week later. And that it does worry me a lot because that would kill the fans if we lost to them. We lost to the scum in a final. That would kill us, but that is what worries me.
I agree. By the way, Charles, to answer that, if we win this weekend and Arsenal lose Newcastle, we can win the league against Chelsea if we win our next 2 after that, 3. Basically, Chelsea's the earliest we can win it then, which is what I'm hoping for, because then I don't have to worry about the Brentford game. By the way, have you seen how much some of them tickets are going for now? Wow. Yes, Rude Ullet, thank you, Michael Jones. Going up to 2-3 grand at the minute. Pat, what are your initial thoughts on this?
Well, up until today, I've only allowed myself the privilege of being able to think about it. I've been very reluctant to talk about it because that's just the old bird in me. It's just never count your chickens before they hatch. But now that we do have to talk about it, I feel like I'm forced to talk about it. There's a lot of things, a lot of positive points that do fill me with a lot of confidence. I mean, to hit form the way we did at the right time against Bayern, and I feel like we are getting to that point now. We are riding we're at the top of the crest of a wave. And I just hope that, deja vu doesn't happen all over again. We don't see a similar situation to what happened in Madrid, last year. But there's so much more. There's so much more about this squad, about this season, that I feel confident that we can do things. They are of that mentality. They've got posters and banners and things up on the wall of the 3 trophies they're after too. But all the players have come out in recent press conferences and interviews and said we're only taking this one game at a time, which is the right way to do it. The only thing that fills me with concern is not just the city-itis or the birdiness of me. It's just like, if those lot down in Salford do end up beating us in that cup final, and even if we come away with a fantastic season of league and European champions, there's still going to be that little bunch of red knobs, with the bottom jaw out further than the top jaw, who will say that because they won 2 trophies in a season and they had the same amount of trophies won in a season as we'll do, they'll still try and justify that they had a better season than us. And that is the part. That's the one thing that's one thing I'm not looking forward to this at the end of this season.
I mean, come on, Pat, you can't. That's stupidity, though.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, but all I'm saying is like they'll be the same way like they did when they beat us in that derby where we could have won the league. They'll be saying, "Sure, you won the double, but we stopped you from winning the league in the derby." Just stupid stuff that we just have to try and ignore, and they won't, because they'll just keep at it and they just want to shut up about it.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Does anyone, just to throw one out here, because everyone's a bit terrified of the Real Madrid, how many times have City played Real Madrid with Pep in charge?
4 times?
4, yeah.
4.
How many times has Real Madrid beaten us?
Once, and we've won 3.
Once, yeah.
I mean, overall we've played them 8 times, and it's 3.
This is what I'm saying. I don't.
3. Lost 2. I mean,
because the thing is, you go back to that semi-final last year. Erling Braut Haaland was playing. We are at a Bayern Munich situation. Don't have to worry about a second leg. Let's be straight and honest right now. We should have battered them 5.
If
5 or
Carl
6.
Walker hadn't gone off, we'd have won.
Yeah.
I mean, no, you know,
the simple fact is,
Diaz had been fit, we'd have won. I mean, it's
And by the way, Real Madrid have a
against
cup final this weekend.
Yep. Which is going to take a lot out of them.
So they're good. They're going to be.
I know Real Madrid in the league is a completely different animal to what it is in
Yeah.
the Champions League, but their league form's been terrible. Real
think the other thing-
Sociedad were all over him in their league match a couple of days ago.
Yeah. Well, I was
terrible.
watching
They were terrible against Girona. They were absolutely.
Yeah, I was
terrible.
watching the guy who I tipped for City signing, getting 4 against them the other day.
Yeah, Tati Castellanos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing I think that affected
Another one is going
City.
to be world class.
I think
We'll
the other
see.
thing that
He got
affected
4 goals against Madrid.
Go on, Al.
the other thing that affected us against Real Madrid leading up to that game was the pounding they got from Atletico Madrid. I mean, that was some of the worst football that I've ever
Great
seen.
point.
I mean, most of the players were battered, bruised. It was just an awful game to watch. And after that, you could see how much it affected the team. They were just exhausted. Just the confidence was just not in them enough to get them over the leg. This time around, they're on a high. As Pat said, they're playing fantastically at the moment. We've peaked at the right time to go into this match against Real Madrid.
To me as well, I always go back to the formation. People going about Pep not learning. I think Pep's adapted more than anybody has ever given him credit for. You go back 4 years, our team was all 5'3" midgets. Aguero, Sterling, Jesus, Sane wasn't the biggest. We were sort of small, nimble, and very technical. Has anyone noticed City have suddenly become land of the giants recently?
Mm-hmm.
We've got a back 4 that's 6 foot odd now. We've got a 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot machine up top. We've suddenly become this technical team, but with added steel and fight and bloody. Come on, then you want to rough it, we'll rough. And I don't think Pep gets enough credit for that.
And number 6 ain't short.
Yeah,
He doesn't have
got
issues with the
Rodri
top
6
shelf
foot
at his supermarket.
Diaz. Everyone's suddenly we've come from the small, nimble, technical little team to BFG. Let's go, but with technicality as well. And I just think at the minute, and maybe I'm being an arrogant sod myself here. I look at myself. We are currently 12. We're 19 games unbeaten. Are we 9, 10, 11 games straight on a run? We've gone right back to where we were told we were never going to do this season. We were sat here 4 months ago. We can't string 3 wins together. Well, we're stringing a lot more than 3 now.
8.
Man, I can't help but see the irony in it. Whereas there's a good chance probably our smallest player now on the pitch is actually English, and that's Phil Foden.
Yeah, this is what I mean. It's.
I mean, he's not a midget, but he's tiny compared to your Rodris and your Diaz and your.
I was last night. I was sat there and I looked because I always thought it was last night. I sat watching. I thought West Ham are huge, and I always remember Sterling and Jesus going up again. And they're like little kids just patting them on the head, and we were like technically getting round.
I remember Pellegrini's. Or Martin, I remember Pellegrini's first season. You had like Kevin Nolan standing next to David Silva.
Yeah,
the last game of the season when we won the league. Yeah.
And all of a sudden now it's all right. You want to, and that's what I love. We've now got this really good mixture. We've got the technicality and the skill and the nimbleness. But if you want to rough it, we'll rough as well. And that's what I think. Maybe I just look at Madrid. I look at Madrid right now. They're in major transition for me. Why do they want Jude Bellingham? Why were they trying to get Haaland? They are trying to go back and rebuild again because they know Toni Kroos is coming to the end. Modric is walking stick in it. They are seriously looking. Benzema's what? Don't get me wrong. They're fantastic players.
They still are fantastic, but
they are.
Sooner or later,
coming to the end.
Yeah.
They're going into their reset big time. We're sort of minor adjusting. They're coming to their major overall. This is the time to go. I disagree with Ozzy a little bit. The final worries me more because City in a one-off game scares the shit out of me. Because over 2 legs, I think we beat anybody. In one-off games, we've shown it, is when Pep can go, let's go all scientific here and throw out the formation and throw in some. I'm just praying he doesn't. I'm praying he doesn't. Regarding the FA Cup final, if these players can't get up for the Manchester derby down there, listen, to me, you go, boys, you won the league. Because we will have won the league, hopefully, by then. Phase 1. You have to do what United did and tick every game, every competition off. Premier League, done. 1 week's rest. 7 days rest. I don't think we make enough of it. There is 7 days. No parade. No celebrations. That all goes on hold. 7 days.
For Pep to overthink.
Yeah, but you get to you get down to Wembley. Well, you won't be trading it down unless you chartered one. Get a Wembley if you're lucky enough to afford the tickets. The robbing sods.
ETIHAD of the Southgate, right, Mike?
Yeah, 145 quid a ticket. Cheeky git. Anyway, get down there. You smack them. Phase 2 done. 7 days again. Coop, rest, we go. We march into Turkey or wherever it is. The thing is, this is something that is, this is why we bought Haaland. This is why we bought Kevin De Bruyne. Maybe I'm being, yes, I know it's one game at a time, but we'll never be as close. And like Pep said the other day, what was Pep's comments? About tiredness. If you're tired, get on the bench. You're tired now, see your bench you go. You shouldn't be tired. Adrenaline, excitement should be carrying you through these games. You are on the cusp of greatness. This could be the greatest Manchester City team ever. And we've had some damn good ones going back to Mike Doyle, Franny Lee, Mike Summerbear, going on even further back. Billy Meredith, Bert Troutman. They can go up there as gods, every single one of them. And then you parade it on June the 11th. You bring big ears, you bring the Premier League three-peat, you bring the FA Cup, and you stick their treble in 99 so far up their arse they can taste it for breakfast. That's my thoughts on it.
Well, that's just got clipped.
Can we make the parade a couple of days later? I'll probably be getting cosmetic surgery.
Nope, tough shit.
And then there's the alternative. Then there's the alternative.
We're gonna get 8-5-0.
where we lose the final in the 92nd minute to a Brahim Diaz shin.
Or Edin Dzeko.
I thought Alan had left. Are you just morphing into each other here as we go along? Alan's been more positive than you tonight, Rich. What's happened?
And Arrogant's been told off for being arrogant and too positive because I think the league's done.
Now you've gone.
And now I've got darts in the cup. I'm Mr. Allen.
No, you're saying we're getting beat by United.
Oh, and while we're there to mention it, Charlie said earlier in the show.
Everyone's killing me now because I said we've got 6-foot giants. 10
straight league seasons above United. With the loss against Brighton, 10 straight seasons.
Oh, and they haven't got their best centre back either, by the way, in that semi-final. No Melito.
I think Courtois is going to be. I think he has to have a stormer again. I don't think
that's the only way. Yeah.
I don't think their defense is good enough. But if he has
Churchill.
a stormer.
Yeah. Do you know what? Sorry, Rich. You mentioned before was about Phil Foden. Do you think like things that come? I really hope Pep starts him in the 2 legs against Real Madrid because I think he's going to have the bit between his teeth. He's going to have 12 months to go on his mind, and I feel like this is a great opportunity for him to really stand out, be an absolute star in this competition.
Do you think? Do you know?
Hey, hang on. They're praising me here in the comments. Lay off you. My inspirational speech bringing tears to their eyes.
It's interesting because in the 2 games where we played Madrid a couple of years ago and we won the quarterfinals, our best player in both games was
Amazing, blew out.
was Jesus.
Jesus,
so I wonder whether that's an issue. So I've got to go 1 second.
Just a quick question, Rich, before you go. Does anyone know if Jesus has learned the offside rule while he's been at
I'll be back. I've just got to make a quick call.
Well, obviously, because he's scoring more goals than us than he did with us. Either that or VAR is just doing what it does best.
Yeah.
No, I listen. I've got full belief in this team. I will always be Premier League over Champions League.
Yeah.
Not going to ever change that.
But we're doing the right things at the right time so far.
Yeah, you go with one competition at a time, one game at a time, and this is what I mean. You're 5-6 wins away from it.
And Martin too.
You've got a week between each one.
Even if we do, we're fortunate enough to wrap up the league at home against Chelsea. I really hope that we keep the intensity up against Brighton and Brentford because that's some decent opposition to play against to keep the team focused leading into the remaining 2 top
you know
finals.
what'll happen? Phillips will play. They'll all want Palmer. Peroni, they'll all want him in. No, I listen. I agree with you. The problem is they'll all want to get medals.
I'm just thinking 2 years ago because I guess that too, but it's just that was the thing that hurt us as much as the lineup Pep put in the Champions League final was we lost focus because we wrapped up the league 2 weeks before it finished. Then we had to wait another 2 weeks before we played again.
How many appearances has Calvin Phillips made this season?
Has he
in minutes or been on the pitch?
Has he?
Well, kind of. It might have to come into both there.
You just need to set foot on the pitch for any duration of time, and it's considered an appearance.
In the Premier League, he has played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, he's got 5 appearances, but he's got 4 minutes, 13 minutes, 3 minutes, 35 minutes in one, so he might be all right. 9 minutes in another game. Jesus Christ. He's only completed double minutes in 2 games. Everyone's chucking him in on Saturday now.
Has he seen a half of football all year?
Yeah.
Him and Laporte are going for who has the least amount of football. No, I just that's my only thing. I think that's why he'll never say it, but I think that's why Ortega went. I think he's thinking, just in case I have to get these 5 appearances in free. The only worry me is that Ortega's playing all the remaining games now moving forward.
Can we just say one thing too? We forgot to mention it yesterday. Was Ortega's not just his performance against West Ham, but most of the performances he's had this season. Doesn't he just fill you with so much confidence if Edison was to go down with a long-term injury? I mean, a lot more than Stefan.
I don't think he'll be there next season. There's a bit of breaking news for you.
Yeah, that James Trafford talk keeps.
They are desperate to get James Trafford back in the club.
Wow. Shame about the name though.
He's a great shot stopper, and he's not bad with his feet, but his distribution just isn't as good as Edison. I think.
Thank you, Ozzy. Did anyone feel in the first half?
He's an upgrade in every department over Stefan.
No, he is. Oh,
yeah.
Understand. But did no one? Honestly, tell me now. Tell me I'm talking a lot of shit. Did anyone feel a bit nervy when, in the first 15 minutes when he was doing these little 2-yard passes to the left and the right? People, the crowd were a bit, it got a bit nervy. Because once or twice they were closing on us. And I thought,
But I think he was coming in cold. He hasn't played in quite a long time. And for a backup goalkeeper, that's just the name of the game, isn't it, really? But he grew into the game for me. And
he's the best number 2 I think we've had under Pep. Yeah. And I like Bravo. I am one of the few who like Bravo.
Anyway, it's important. It's important for football. It is important that Trafford does see a league title again. So I think we should get him back. Yeah, because that's the only chance Trafford's got of seeing the Premier League in.
No,
the
but
next
just something I read
decade.
the other day that apparently they are really hyping on James Trafford and they want to start bringing in a youngster.
Well, if James
you
Trafford lets it
keep
go,
Ortega and maybe bring Carson onto the coaching staff full time, maybe bring Trafford in as the number 3. I don't know.
I think they should make Carson the bouncer. They should put him in charge of security.
Don't. FIFA's not here. He'll come mad at you.
well, even if James Trafford was to let a goal in, at least he's still not as leaky as a stadium of the same name.
See, that's a good point. I've muddied up. They're all going to want to be desperate to play in that final at Wembley. Because other than Ortega, because I do think Ortega starts in the FA Cup final because he deserves it.
Yeah,
he could also make history. That
Muddy. I just don't want to see. Yeah, I just don't want to see lightning strike twice because we saw that 2 years ago.
There isn't another goalie who's kept a clean sheet through the whole tournament ever before, is there? I know Everton did it up to the semis.
I don't know that there's a team who's done it, let alone a keeper.
No, I was just piggybacking off the Ortega thing.
Yeah, but I don't think a team's ever gone through to the final to win it without conceding.
No, I find it's a better even when Edison knocking out the scores. Yeah, no, I get that. I do get that. We'll go round because I know you have to shoot and it does bring us 2 hours bang on.
Yeah.
Unless anyone else wants to. Either Ozzy's doing something else or his mind wandered then. You could tell. Ozzy, how many trophies are we winning this year? I'm putting you on the spot. You're going to hate me for it. I'm sorry.
I am going to hate you for it.
Big boy pants time. Come on.
I think we're going to do it.
Good man.
I do. I think this is City's best chance, and I think it feels to me like when we won the domestic treble. Just that the team are in such a good place. We're playing brilliant football. Pep is being a genius. You know, he's not doing the risky stuff. He's not doing anything silly. It just feels that this could be the moment.
No. I never said he's better than Ortega, mate. I said he's highly thought of at City and they don't want to lose him. So they want to try and bring him back. Pat, how many? I'm going to leave misery guts and, you know, he's flip-flopped tonight. He's gone from arrogant to misery guts. See if we can get him in the middle later on. Pat, I know you hate this, but I'm doing it on the spot. How many? Stop shrinking in your chair. Are you taking the one? Right. Tell me what you... Right. No.
Come on, Pat. I had to do it.
You don't want to say it.
I'm putting my bloody hands up. Can you count what's on the screen?
No. By the way, if anyone's listening to this because you can do this, by the way. I know we're on screen, but if you're listening to this as a podcast while we're driving, how many fingers did you hold up there? Because not everyone watches, some just listen.
3.
Pardon?
A very reluctant 3.
I'm just making sure you said something. Got him, Ozzy. We got him. Right, come on then. Are we going to get Mr. Arrogant, Mr. Misery Guts, or are we going to go in the middle?
He's going to have a rant about it, you know that much.
I've said
political.
I think we're going to win 2.
Which one we dropping?
I think we're going to screw up the FA Cup.
Oh, piss off, Rich.
Against a team against a team who wouldn't get one player in our 11.
I'll come back to that in a minute. Just as we end, 3. Adam Quinn's going for it. A team, don't think so. Correct me if I'm wrong. 3. Yeah, but Edison. Ortega's excellent, mate. But he's Edison's key to Pep. Yep. Sean's gone 3. Glendon 3, presume 3 Sharks. Mad out of 3. Hardo's gone 2. Which one are you losing out on? See, we've gone from no one believed to every bugger's now believing now.
You somehow rallied the troops, Martin, with your inspirational speech.
Yeah, that's done it, Martin.
I'm going down. I'm doing the dressing room on Saturday.
Yeah. You're gonna walk in. You're gonna walk in with blue paint on half your face.
I've got to jump now anyway before the final jinx. So
no, don't jump. Don't jump.
Afternoon.
Don't go near it. Get off the edge.
Pat, he's also going to walk in his pants.
Pull him back. Thank you, Rich.
Night night.
Night night.
Well,
Hey,
good
Rick.
morning.
Night night. Good
Whatever.
morning.
Right.
Have a
I'll
good
text you
weekend,
about
mate.
weekend. We'll discuss post match.
Yeah, cool.
Right. I'm going all 3.
Good for you.
Go on, Martin.
That. Full on chest. All 3.
The Treble Father's back.
And then we go into the history books. And you know what? If we don't win it, so be it. But one game at a time, we're going to do it. I've just got a feeling. I'm watching that 7-foot meat machine up top and I'm thinking, yeah. We could be 2-0 down and I'm still thinking he's bagging at you at the other side.
No, completely different animal with him.
And I'm sorry, he might be arrogant. I just think this team is phenomenal. And we watch some crackers.
Nothing wrong with believing in your team, though, Martin, especially this team right now.
Maybe it was that complaint I put in with the club earlier about that, about the thing last night. He got it all out there. I don't know why. I just feel it. But you know, I'm still of the same mind. If we only win 1 trophy, great season. I think we cherish every single trophy. But this is, I just think the system, the charges, Haaland. Maybe it's why I was so positive in November when everyone else was jumping off cliffs and sack Pep and what's this boring, crappy football we're all watching. I think it's all come to this point. And I think one day we'll sit back and we'll realise what a team and how special it damn well is. It's got everything. Anyway,
touch on the elephant in the room, Martin.
Oh, Bellingham, yeah. I did ask again. City are not out of it. That's what I do now. City are not out of it. City would have briefed it, and they haven't. When City are out of stuff, they brief it. Do you remember Bruno Fernandes? We're buying Bruno Fernandes. His agent was already buying him an house. Apparently, City went out and went, no interest in Bruno. Neymar, we were buying Neymar. No interest in Neymar. There's a sticking point from what I read everywhere. Dortmund want the 130 million euros minimum. Or 150 million euros. Real Madrid. Apparently, now this is from the Madrid media as well, not even from Dortmund. This is from the Madrid media. Madrid are going up to 100 million euros. Which is about 85 quid, and that's where wasn't that where Liverpool went in at, and they got told to politely piss off.
Yeah.
Got to remember, all I was saying it, and he may still go to Madrid, and that's fine. We'll move on to wherever we can. We've got to remember that. But remember, Haaland had a meeting at Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and he agreed personal terms with every single one of them. Signed for City.
Yeah.
It's who agrees that fee with Dortmund.
Well,
Not the
thing, Martin,
personal terms, it's the fee.
There's no buyout clause. It's literally you've got to deal with Dortmund. And Dortmund, look
it's
what
a highest
happened
bidder
with,
situation.
Yeah, and look what happened with Sancho. You know, when United came sniffing around him for the first time, they were like, no, there's a price tag. We've set
and they gave
price.
a cut-off date as well, too. Never mind when
Yeah.
the transfer window closed, they gave a cut-off date. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. When Dortmund set a price, that's it. That's what you've got to pay. It doesn't matter who you are, no matter how much your rep comes in. It's you pay the price for the player we've got under contract. You know, so I think you're right, Martin. I mean, because City have been radio silent, I think this is very suspicious the timing as well when we're about to face them in the Champions League. It just feels, you know, the Spanish media trying to upset the apple card, you know, worrying about City's form, hoping to kind of do anything they can.
When at this time last season, Haaland was signing for Madrid, even though we already knew he was coming to us.
And the media outlets started to pick up the tempo with the column inches right before the semi-final last season.
The thing is, Julie's got it here. Dortmund decide.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jude can agree wherever he wants, and that's yes. Jude has a say, but there's a difference here, and it's something told me his head, and you might not want to agree with him, but like he said, City were told, let us concentrate on the title. Please be respectful. Let us concentrate. Have you heard City come out and said, we're going after Bellingham, we're doing this, we're doing that? No. Real Madrid have gone, by the way, and we know you're in the middle of a title race, but can we just disrupt your player?
It's not just that, Martin, as well, though, but I think, you know, Madrid and other Spanish clubs have done this before. You know, they say, we're after this player, and they're doing this because they want to tell their fans, oh, well, we were going to get this player. We tried everything we could, but at the end of the day, another team like City have come along with more money, more of their oil-rich money, and they just got him because they paid a ridiculous amount for him. And we were never going to pay that kind of fee because, you know, we only go up to 100 million for a player. That's our ceiling. We're not going to break that for any player.
You know the funny thing is, Ozzy? Apparently they're still going to get Mbappe. They want Haaland. How are they going to find 400, 500 million in the next sort of 2 years, 3 years?
While still paying us back.
130?
While still paying us back for the stadium upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, how much is Mbappe? 150. How much is Haaland? 200 million the way he's going.
Plus,
you can't buy everybody. It's not
Don't
FIFA.
forget the salaries.
Yeah, and the salaries. You're right.
All I'm saying is, if he goes to Madrid, so be it. But no news is good news. City are not out of it.
No, I agree, Mate.
No,
I think
it's
too early.
Is he worth 130 million? For me, yes, because he's 19. You pay premium because he's English. You pay premium because he's 19. He's a 10-year player. And say you want McAllister. How much would McAllister be? I was 90.
World Cup winner, still got, I think, 4 years or something in his contract, something like that. You know, you are.
How much would Rice be?
Well, they were quoting 150 mil West Ham last season. So, I mean, yes, he's only got. Yeah, because he's only got, I think, a year or two left in his contract.
This is what I mean. Unless City are going to go and get a bargain for someone they're going to turn into a good player. But if they want the ready-made replacement now, they're going to have to pay the big bucks. Whoever City go for will be money. This is why we never understood the argument.
The thing is, though, as well, Martin, is that I think we won't get on this tonight. We'll may come back to this. I think you alluded to at the beginning of the stream is that really and truly, like, if we don't get Bellingham, who is it going to be? Because for me, the alternatives are not good enough. You're on about
going to Liverpool, and McAllister.
So yeah, that's the rumor that's come out over the last 24 hours. So, but I feel that you're trying to replace the likes of KDB and Gundogan. Do you really think the names that are on the list at the moment, are any of them good enough apart from Bellingham? No. So it means, going back to Alan's point, do we wait another year for someone to come through?
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can.
Wait another year for speculation? Like, no.
Because what? Gundogan will be gone. KD will be 33.
He'll be in his penultimate season.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. It's you can't. The problem you've got is everyone's after midfielders this year. Newcastle want midfielders.
Last year.
Arsenal want midfielders. Liverpool want 3 of them. There won't be that many midfielders. Look at Casado at Brighton, 100-odd million quid they were told.
Yeah.
Whoever City buy is going to be big money. The difference is this kid's 19. Under Pep Guardiola, he can make him worth 200 million.
He's a potential 15-year player. Never mind 10.
Yeah, he really is.
Question though, because you're thinking like, you know, they're saying, oh, Real Madrid are going to go up to 100 million euro for Bellingham. If they don't get him, which I feel confident that we are further ahead in the race than what the media sort of is projecting us to. Do you think if they don't get Bellingham, they may go after Bruno Guimaraes from Newcastle? Because Newcastle valued him at around about the same amount of money.
Bruno Guimaraes, and I know someone, I go on a show on a Tuesday night, black and white. This guy called Baz, he's got a great, I can't remember the channel name. He's got people on the inside at Newcastle he knows. That's how I knew about Calvin Phillips, Newcastle being interested in Phillips on a loan with a view to buy. Apparently, Bruno Guimaraes, they are basically valuing it over 100 million quid.
Right around that ballpark figure that Real Madrid. So I think Bruno's their plan B.
And you know the other thing as well that we've all forgotten about, what will City need soon when Kyle Walker leaves? We lost Sterling. Probably going to lose Carson. Who are we going to need soon? Homegrown players.
Yeah.
Straight in.
Yep.
But if he goes to Madrid, to me, that's his funeral. Because everyone who walks out of Real Madrid, Beckham had a season or two decent. Bale had a good 18 months. And then he got the best golf handicap ever. He's going out on the US tour next year. So, simple fact is,
English players are the first to fall victim to the Real Madrid politics. They really do.
Yeah, British players are
really
not well supported over there, let's be honest. So, the moment he's not the next, Ronaldo, okay, different position, I know, but it's just that's going to happen. They're going to eat him alive. And unless he's got a really strong mentality, and now for 19, he's shown that he has, but against that, I wouldn't want to be him. And I think he'd be wasted. I honestly do. I mean, the Spanish press have already turned around and said that he won't start. He'll be on the bench. He'll come off. Is that really what he wants?
It's his funeral, mate. Big Ish, no, that isn't true, mate. It's up to Bellingham. City wanted Kane. City wanted Alexis Sanchez. City wanted Hazard. City wanted Isco. I'll tell you, like I told you, City had Hazard in their boardroom. Eden Hazard went from Lille to Manchester City and was in the Manchester City boardroom. And his agent went, we're just going to have 2 million. Can we have, what was it? Something like £3 million signing on fee plus £3 million from the agent. City couldn't boot him out the boardroom quick enough. And I've been told that by someone who works there. And a steam company said it. Colin Savage, Presswich Blue, knows about it. Hazard was in the boardroom and upped his demands in the boardroom and got booted out by Brian Marwood in a not so pleasant way. So City will pull plugs. Van Dijk, they went after. Too expensive. Maguire, too expensive.
I don't think that's the case though in this one, Martin.
No.
I don't think it's that Bellingham or his agent that is his dad are playing greedy. I just think they're doing what Haaland did. As you said earlier, I think they're going round seeing where is the best deal for ultimately Bellingham. And if it is Madrid, then as we said, fair enough to him. But it all comes back to you've still got to pay the price that Dortmund have set. And that's it.
And looking at this,
by the way,
too,
that is 100% true, Flaws. I can guarantee. Go and ask Stephen, Steam Company, and all them. They all know about it. It was true. It was in the boardroom. And what City don't like is the rug being pulled from under them. If you agree a deal, don't change it while you're mid-signing contracts, because City will just pull straight away. Alexis Sanchez like Alexis Sanchez actually said goodbye to Arsenal, and they all cheered him off that he was coming to Manchester City. United jumped in, £500,000. Sanchez goes back to City. Oh, can we renegotiate my wages? City went, no, you can go and play for United. Bye.
Bullet dodged.
Yeah, and there's a nice piano over there waiting for you.
Yeah. City don't allow anyone to mess them around.
And look at it the other way too. It's just sure a certain figure for a player at the time when you sign him may look a bit steep, it may look a bit expensive, and that. But then you got to look at the actual value of that over the course of the duration of the player's career. Look at Kevin De Bruyne, for example. Like, you know, at the time when we signed him, everybody was saying, "What, 55 million? That's an absolute joke. What, so much for that player? For a Chelsea flop." Now we look at it now, 7, 8 years on now from when we signed him. Absolute value for money. 120, 130 million in 10 years' time with Bellingham. And given in the next 10 years, there could be 20 more players that will be sold to other clubs for more than what we paid for him. That'll be looked on as value.
Oh, by the way, just a quick one on this. Did anyone notice who liked Jack Grealish's tweet last night or Instagram post? Whatever it was.
Was it a certain gentleman named Jude Bellingham?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Not seen him liking any Real Madrid posts at the minute. It's funny that because he's close to going.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not saying he's signing for City, so don't come back. I'm saying to you, City out of the running. He may go to Madrid, and if he does, best of luck. City will have other options. But just be careful what you believe. Yes, Fabrizio was right. They are close on personal terms. They've not even sat down to discuss a fee.
Don't want to discuss that fee until they're finished with their season.
That's the hurdle. City have already done the fee.
Yeah.
City have gone. That's what you want, right?
I think personal terms have probably as well been sorted.
Retro ramp, but can't imagine Central Lad would even attempt to bigger than what? Like Bellingham would even attempt to bigger than. I don't understand. Are you saying that we shouldn't be there, or anyway? It'll all come out in the wash. Yeah, I know they're very good mates, but I don't agree with all this thing. It's done. We'll see. But City will have other targets. But the thing you got to remember is whoever City buy, unless it's a up and comer, like the lad at Celta Vigo with the 35 million release clause, that's cheap. But if it's a Bruno Guimaraes, Declan Rice, which I think is stupid anyway because you got Rodri, or whoever it is, big money. So don't let the fee ever persuade you. Because City are always going to have to pay the big fee. To Jack Grealish. So we'll just wait and see. Anyway, gentlemen, thank you very much. Enjoyed that one.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. Thanks, Ozzy.
Thanks, Pat.
Thanks, Ozzy. I love that. So again, that was a great accent, that then, Pat. You went proper Ozzy there.
Well, it's in the name.
I'll just do a Pat.
No, you can't beat the original, mate.
No, I'm giving you the one.
Numbers there. There you go.
No, I'm giving you the one, mate. That would. Anyway, I don't know.
Thanks very much, Ozzy. You've always been good to have a chinwag with you.
That's how we did his podcasts. He did it.
I turn the Aussie up to 11 on those shows. Don't you worry.
Anyway, I don't know when the post match will be. I think I may be going out Saturday. I'm not sure yet after the game. It's either going to be Saturday night or it'll be Sunday. So I'll just see who's available. I will see what's best. But I might be going out on Saturday night. And I've got to take my nights off when I can get them at the moment.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Go out on your hot date.
Pardon?
So go out on your hot date.
No, it's not a hot date. No. She could be watching. My wife.
Yeah, she's behind
I'm
you.
bloody listening. 1 room away.
No, what it is
Glass against the wall.
No, I might be going to a wedding. I'm not sure yet. We're not sure if we're going because we're not sure. It's part of the family, but we're not sure my dad's going to come. That's what we're waiting. It basically depends on whether my dad's up to it.
Yeah.
If my dad's not up to it, we'll do the show. If he's up to it, I'll be at a wedding. Martin getting on the session, I'll be driving, mate. I'm designated driver. Anyway, if you can be so kind, smash those likes on the way out. If you are new and you have enjoyed it, please hit that subscribe button. It is a big ask, but we've got 5 weeks to get to 2,000 subscribers. 350 away. Trying to get to that. And also, don't forget what I will be doing. I'm picking it up tomorrow. So on the post-match on Monday, there will be an announcement. I am officially picking it up tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say. Night, everyone.
All right.
Night.
See ya. And by the way, if you're at the ETIHAD on Saturday, come and say hello. Always love to meet people. Anyway, take care, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you all for joining us, and have a great Thursday, Friday. Take care. Long one.
Oh, God's sake.